Is it right for us to play God and mess around with nature just out of curiosity's sake? What about in the name of real scientific growth? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Today, we're talking about real-life cases of animal hybrids, either between human beings or other animals. I'm your host, James, and it's time to mix and match. Here are the top 10 evil crossbreeding events from history you were never taught in school. And we're kicking off the list with human-monkey hybrids. Spanish biochemist and developmental biologist Juan Carlos Ispidas Belmonte has been working with scientists in China to develop a new type of monkey, one whose organs are made entirely of human cells. Now, they aren't just doing this for the hell of it. The purpose is to create chimeras that can be used for organ transplants. The process involves injecting monkey embryos with human embryonic stem cells in the hopes that they'll grow together. Then you'll have these monkey creatures with human livers or kidneys, and if someone happens to need one, we can grab it from a creepy hybrid monkey. There are ethical questions involved with this though. Is it wrong to create life that's only being used to harvest organs, or is the unethical side of monkey farming outweighed by the help that it can provide? If you are liking this channel so far and you haven't subscribed yet, why not hit that subscribe button? Lots of cool videos coming your way, so don't miss out. And as always, let me know your thoughts in those comments below. At number 9, we have what I'm just going to call mice humans, because that sounds very intriguing. What is a mouse human, you're probably asking? Well, back in 2014, scientists at the University of Rochester Medical Center pulled off something pretty wild. They managed to stick a bunch of human brain cells into lab mice. This experiment didn't just teach us more about how our brains work, it also stirred up some serious moral questions about how far we should push the boundaries of science, especially when it comes to animals. They injected these mice with human glial cells, and over time these human cells meshed with the mouse's brain, basically taking over from the mouse's original cells, and this actually resulted in the mice having an increased memory capacity. They tested this by playing a sound and then zapping the mice lightly, and the next time they played the sound, they noticed that the mice were on high alert, just remembering that shock 4 times better than their regular non-human brain mouse pals. But of course, nothing's ever simple, right? Alongside this pretty incredible discovery came some heavy ethical questions. Is it cool to tinker with animals' brains like this and, you know, electrocute them? Next up, we have two-headed dogs. Now, this isn't quite a crossbreeding case per se, but it is a super messed up scientific experiment that actually did happen. So alright, let's get into two-headed dog transplants, courtesy of Vladimir Demikov, a Soviet scientist who rocked the world of surgery back in the 50s. Demikov was the mastermind behind some truly bizarre experiments where he surgically attached the head of one dog onto another, a two-headed dog. Now, the idea behind these experiments was to explore the possibilities of organ transplantation and study the body's responses to these procedures. Demikov's work was groundbreaking in the world of surgery, really pushing the boundaries of what was medically possible at the time. But as you can imagine, this stirred up a massive ethical storm. The morality of creating these Frankenstein-like creatures just for scientific curiosity, it's just inherently cruel playing around with life in such a drastic manner. The dogs would not live long after these experiments. It's also just weird and creepy. I don't like the idea of a two-headed mangled dog thingy. I don't know. At least make it 3, then you'd have like an actual mythical creature on your hands, straight out of ancient Greek mythology. And at number 7, we have the Zonkey. Zonkey, Zorse, Zedonk, they all sound like something out of Dr. Seuss, but they're a very real thing. They're a female or male zebra mixed with either a female or male horse or a female or male donkey. Whatever the variation though, it's highly unethical. Breeding these things might seem kind of intriguing, but it raises ethical red flags. Just like any animal hybrid, the big issue here is that these hybrids are usually sterile, rendering them unable to reproduce naturally, which raises concerns about their overall well-being. Breeding animals for novelty or profit, knowing they can't lead to substantial populations, seems a little ethically rocky. Plus, they often have health issues related to their mixed genetic makeup. There's just no purpose in in breeding these animals other than the spectacle of it. Next up we have Wholphins. Made a false killer whale, which is a more aggressive species of dolphin, with a common bottlenose dolphin, and you get a Wholphin. These hybrids have been known to occur in captivity in marine parks or aquariums, and that's a big part of the bad ethics behind this one. Marine parks are notoriously crappy to animals, but aside from how these animals are often treated in these places, Wholphins, like many hybrid animals, often face health issues and higher mortality rate compared to their parent species. The mixing of genetic material from different species can lead to various psychological and behavioral problems, causing suffering and reducing their overall quality of life. Wholphins can't occur naturally in the wild because of the geographical and just behavioral differences between false killer whales and bottlenose dolphins. Breeding them in captivity is not part of the natural order. It's human tinkering. Plus, combining a highly intelligent dolphin with an apex predator dolphin, maybe not the best idea. Next on the list are monkeys infused with human brain cells. Chinese scientists have recently achieved a pretty big milestone in the realm of neurobiology, basically infusing human brain cells into monkeys, a process that created chimeric embryos, organisms consisting of cells from both humans and monkeys. The objective here was to gain a better understanding of brain development and disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases. Scientists wanted to understand how human brain cells, once integrated into the monkey brains, behaved and interacted with the host environment. It's a fascinating experiment, but there are of course moral implications of blending human and animal cells and possible consequences too. I've said this before, but I just do not want a Planet of the Apes situation. I don't want a rogue AI situation. Virtually any science fiction situation happening in real life is a no-no. Sometimes I feel like scientists just haven't watched or read any science fiction before. And at number 4, we have another real case of a successful head transplant, this one done with a monkey. So meet Dr. Robert White. Dr. Robert White, a neurosurgeon who took inspiration from Vladimir Demikov's wild experiments and decided to push the envelope even further in the 70s. Dr. White didn't stop at two-headed dogs. He aimed for something even more audacious: monkey head transplants. So Dr. White successfully transplanted the head of one monkey onto the body of another. It's giving me some real Sid from Toy Story vibes here. But to be fair, the procedure wasn't just about curiosity. It was an attempt to understand the intricacies of spinal cord fusion and nerve connections. I was trying to explore the possibility of giving paralyzed or severely disabled people a new lease on life. But, at the same time, a monkey's head being placed onto the body of another one is just, people get a little creeped out by that. The idea of swapping heads between animals, just kind of gross. Once again, the monkeys also did not live long after the procedures. Next up, we have Sam Harris, aka the Pigman of Northfield. This is definitely the most believable of all the things on this list. The story goes that a 17-year-old boy, Sam Harris, went missing on October 30th in the hills of Northfield, Vermont in 1951. Harris had gone out to egg some houses that night, but never returned home. A search was launched, but he never turned up. But in the months that followed, sightings of Sam began being reported, only he looked different. He wore the face of a pig and would terrorize the New England locals. Farmers began finding their pigs slaughtered and horrendously maimed. Rumors began to spread about him having become this half-man, half-pig abomination, and even laying with pigs, creating an entire breed of pigmen offspring. So yeah, why wasn't this taught in school? Like, forget fractions, I want Pigman! 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 Alright, second place, Humanzees. The concept of a chimpanzee-human hybrid has been around for years. Although there aren't any definitive documented cases of this ever having worked, there are real-life cases of attempts being made. First in the 1920s, a Soviet scientist with too many V's in his name, Ilya Ivanovich Ivanov, he attempted to create a chimp human. His attempt was pretty blunt. Put some human love juice into some female chimps. Luckily, this was done artificially. Surprise, surprise, but the chimps did not get pregnant. So the logical next step was, well, if chimps can't get pregnant, just take that and reverse it. Take some ape goo and try to get some human volunteers pregnant instead. And there were volunteers, surprisingly, but the experiment never actually took place, thank God. His orangutan died, and then the government exiled him. Anyway, cut to 1981, and a Chinese scientist named Ji Yongzhang claimed to have worked on a human-chimp hybrid experiment in 1967, in which a female chimp was impregnated with human you-know-what, but apparently the chimp died before actually giving birth. Finally, though, we have ligers. Ligers are not a thing from Napoleon Dynamite. I mean, they are, but they do actually exist in real life too. The hybrid offspring of a male lion and a female tiger are indeed real, but they're also met with a lot of health issues, mostly related to their size. Ligers grow much larger than their parent species, sometimes reaching lengths of 10 to 12 feet and weighing up to 900 pounds or more. Their immense size puts a lot of pressure on their bodies, including their organs and skeletal structure, but especially their hearts. Ligers often suffer from heart conditions, mainly due to their hearts struggling to support their massive bodies. And this disproportionate growth can also lead to other health issues, difficulty in breathing, arthritis, and just a shortened lifespan compared to their lion and tiger counterparts. Now, when it comes to the moral implications of creating ligers, primary concern revolves around the ethics of hybridization in captivity. Ligers don't occur naturally in the wild, and their creation is solely a result of human intervention, typically in like captive breeding facilities. Like think, what was that show? The Tiger Guy? All those kinds of places. People who collect exotic animals. Breeding ligers and other hybrids like tigans, which are the offspring of a male tiger and a female lion, it's just prioritizing human curiosity and profit over the actual welfare of the animals. It's highly exploitive, mainly done as this novel thing for entertainment purposes. With all that said, I'm your host James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video. Finally, a name I could just pronounce without having to Google it and listen to it. Ilya Ivanov. See what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just nice to have a name that just flows out of your tongue. I'm not Russian. Anyway,